Okay.
Recording. Action.
Is that better?
Good to go?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Probably really eye-opening.
Connection. And a fantastic experience.
Different and challenging.
Bonding.
Fellowship.
Life-changing, original and fresh.
Puts you out of your comfort zone.
Life-changing friendships.
My faith probably wasn't really as, I guess, strong as it could have been.
Because I've grown up in a Christian family. I've always had a pretty strong faith.
I also struggled with friendships and schoolwork.
So I'd have to say my faith journey was pretty basic.
Veta, you're reading scripture that's challenging the way that you're thinking normally, and you want to change.
Was having to go through the personal realization that my faith was my own journey.
Friendship.
Yeah, I think meeting new people is the best part because it expands your friendship circle.
But because you can talk freely, you know that you're not going to be judged.
It changed my life and it changed my trajectory and where I've become and what I've done.
I think I've become a lot more mature.
Personally, I feel more happier and more open to share my faith with others.
So if I want to get into politics or into law and I want to make a difference in things, I have to be very strong on my own morals. I actually want to know for sure what I believe and be strong on that, and Veta really helps it.
This year I've been blessed with school captain, so I really feel like I've been called to just lead, especially the younger people, the junior schoolers, middle schoolers, into Christ.
That helps you plan and prep for something long term.
I'd highly recommend it because it's a life-changing course.
It's more than just a subject, it's actually a year-long community.
Definitely consider it, and if you're going to do it 100%.
If you feel led to do something or impact the world in whatever way that you can right now, I think that you should do it.
Even though you may not go to a Christian school or anything, I guess it's a good way that you can connect to God through your school life.
If you have an instinct, oh yeah, I think I might want to do this, just do it. Jump in.
Do it.
Totally do it.
Totally do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Couple of Bayside students in that video from a few years ago. But yeah. So thanks, Bethany and Charlotte, for coming. It looks like we're it for today, which is great. We're just going to catch up. Did you want to say anything before we jump in, Laura?
Just that Bethany's name is actually Chloe.
Oh, Chloe, I'm kidding. I'm going to stop you. I've got Bethany right there in front of me. Sorry, Chloe. So welcome aboard. I was part of the original crew to got Veta going about 20 years ago. So this is actually coming into our 20th year. So as you do the course next year, assuming that all works out for you, you'll be part of the 20th year of Veta. So we've had over 4,000 students have done the course, and we continue to, because we hear the stories of transformation, as you've heard in that video that's just been on. Tonight we're just going to go through the makeup of what the course is in a really practical way. And I just want to say to you, when we designed the course, we had a number of students, maybe just like you, who got to that end of year 10, year 11, that sort of age, and really wanted to grow in their faith, but found that they had an unfair choice to make. It was like they either really invested in their academic and school life to get the marks and the score and the academic success that they wanted at school, or to really invest in their Christian growth. But it was hard to balance both. And so we looked around at how we could support people like that, and we found that through the VET system, we could provide an opportunity where you could do as a course these core experiences of growth in the Christian life. And the whole course, as you'll see as we go through it, it's really made up of what we are aware are the really important things that you need to do as you claim your faith for yourself, as you go through this really important stage of development, as a young adult, growing from childhood to adulthood, in the next couple of years, as you launch out into the world, to really develop a mature faith. The components of the course are really designed around what's going to help you do that in the best possible way. So hand back to Laura. It's going to be, this is really practical, what the course looks like. And if you have any questions at any stage, you can enter those into the comments section and we'll try and respond. Or at the end, we'll hang around and, as long as you want to ask any questions. But we'll try and honour your time in the meantime and certainly finish by 5:30.
Awesome. That's 5 o'clock for you South Australians.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Just so you know. Firstly, we would love to know that you're here with us. And so in the chat, I've just chucked a link. If you could fill that link in, that will just provide you with more written material of what I'm about to say. And also we'll just send you emails when our enrollments open later in the year. You can touch base with us, we can touch base with you. Don't worry if you sign up to that link, you're not signing up for life, you won't get emails forever. None of that, just to touch base with those key dates coming up as well. So my name is Laura and I am the Director of Spiritual Formation for Veta Youth, and Rowan is the Executive Director. And we are very grateful and very excited that you're here today. I have been involved with Veta for 11 years now, which seems a little ridiculous because I don't feel like I'm that old yet. But I did Veta myself as a student and then basically hung around like a fly that wouldn't go away. And did lots of volunteering and serving over a number of years, and then eventually took a paid position, and am now doing what I do, which is very exciting. And I love what Veta is about, and I love discipling young people, and we're very excited to be celebrating our 20 years next year. So we have the Certificate 3 in Christian Ministry and Theology, and that's delivered through our Evolution Learning RTO, which just means that it's an official course. That's the main thing you need to know about that. Schools sometimes say it's not an official course. It is, and we can talk to your schools if that's a problem. This does count towards your ATAR score in both South Australia and Victoria, which is where you guys are from. It counts a bit differently in the States. We can discuss how that works later if you would like more information around that. So there's 6 parts that make up our Veta experience, and the first one is our peer group. Our peer group is the group that you go through doing Veta with. It's kind of like your class. It's the people that you do the work with, you have good conversations with, and you spend lots of your time with. Peer groups often become like little families where they share all sorts of life's ups and downs. We do think peer group is different to just like an English class or a maths class, because as well as doing work, we actually care about each other and we honour each other. And that looks different in every peer group. So they run weekly, and it would depend on your school, whether that's timetabled into the school, or I know for Bayside it happens on a certain night of the week. Mentoring is where we connect you with an adult mentor. So you get to find your own mentor who has had some life experience, and they speak into your life. You can ask them questions, they can ask you questions, and throughout the year they help you really specifically with what you're going through. It's not so much general stuff, but the specific stuff that you are dealing with. Throughout the year we have 10 hours with our mentor, and I found mentoring so helpful when I did Veta that 11 years on, I still have a mentor, and just still find that time to have someone invest in me, someone I can ask questions of, someone that we can communicate with when I'm struggling or when life's going really well. Throughout Veta, we have Bible engagement. So each week there's 5 to 7 chapters of the Bible that you are asked to read, and it goes through kind of the story of God from from Genesis through to Revelation. In that first term, you are required to journal on one of the Bible readings that you read, and second and third term, you're required to journal on 2 of the Bible readings that you read. We believe that reading the Bible and journaling is a really important practice, and while this can be a difficult practice for some to get into, that's why we're starting off slow with just 1 per week for term 1 and then building that up, because it's like a muscle, and you wouldn't just run a marathon straight away. You actually work up towards that. And we have seen that while students have struggled with Bible engagement at different times, afterwards they're so thankful that they've gotten through. And we also talk about how to read the Bible in context and how to read it well. And so that all connects together. We have our ministry placements. There's 2 of those that happen throughout the year. One is a major ministry placement, which goes for 40 years, only 40 hours of the year. Be a very long ministry placement.
Well, I'm up to 30 years in ministry, so
you still haven't passed Veta by my standards.
That's it.
So the ministry placement, the major ministry placement, I'll just get myself back together, is 40 hours over the course of the year. I, for my ministry placement, did kids ministry, which is often a loved one by people who are in the church. They do kids or youth ministry. But we also have people who do things like serving at an op shop. We had one person in South Australia even who played piano at the local hospital for residents there. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do for your ministry placement, and it's really about finding where God has called you, what giftings God has given you, and looking through that. We also have short-term ministry, which typically COVID has changed this slightly, but typically it goes for a weekend. It's serving at a camp, or it's serving in an intensive kind of way, one throughout the year. And so when I did Veta all those years ago, I got all the local churches together for a 40-hour famine event, and we slept outside in Ballarat, which is a very, very cold place, in the middle of August. There was 5 different churches involved, 45 kids, and it was a great weekend, but there was also a lot I learned that weekend about how to run events. And that weekend, while it was hard and difficult, it grew me, and now I'm running the retreats for Veta. And so I feel like it's really helped me see where I am gifted, what God has called me to. And so there's lots of different opportunities for ministry placements throughout the year, and it's about you and what God is gifting you in. Christian community is joining with your church or youth group or chapel at school, where you're invested into. What is it that God is doing in the midst of community, where mentoring is, that personal one-on-one relationship. Christian community is about ironing, sharpening iron, and building that community around you, where you can invest in them, but they can also invest in you. We also have retreats, which is my job and predominantly where I work, and I love our retreats. I'm a bit biased by saying that, but we have 3 state-based retreats each year. And so there's a Victorian one, there's a South Australian one, etc. This picture is a picture of our retreat one in Victoria this year. And there's 3 topics that we explore over the course of our retreat. So the first retreat is all about the Bible and understanding the Bible in context. The second one is all about mission, and the third one's all about your identity in Christ. Retreats are often the highlight for students, as it's a way for them to get to know other people in their in their line of, you know, other Christians that aren't just in their school, in their bubble. And just seeing that God is at work in lots of different people's lives, especially at this time where it can be really, are there even other Christians around? This shows that there are lots of other Christians who are in the same stage of life as you. So that's all I'm going to say right now. We would love for you to fill out that contact form that I placed into the chat earlier, so we can contact you when our enrollment's open. But I'd also love if you guys have any questions that we can answer them for you now.
While you're thinking of, well, certainly by schools, you might not think of this question, but it's like, they say, well, what kind of students tend to do better? Who benefits from it? And I think of 3 students I put them in boxes. You might not like being put in a box, but I'm going to put you in a box anyway. So there's one group of students who are really, you know, love God, active in their church, really involved. And you probably, if you've seen the components of Veta, you probably look at that and think, wow, that's all the things I want to do anyway. I want to read my Bible. I want to have a small group of friends who I can connect with. I want to be involved in mission. I want to be part of my church. I want to read my Bible. Why not? So that's an advantage of it, is that you do those things. But what really happens in that is that I know myself, I often have really good intentions about what I think I should do or want to do in terms of my spiritual growth. But then life gets busy, I get doing other things, and I find it hard to be consistent with that. And so by doing Veta, what happens is you have a real formal structure around you. You're surrounded by, you know, adults who are supporting you and cheering you on. You've got a personal commitment, and you've got the time available in your schedule to actually do those things that that you're wanting to do. And so what we find for those students is that their faith, leadership and just confidence in who they are just really takes off over that year. So that's one group of students. The second group of students would be those who often come to the end of year 10. As I said before, it's a time when you're really starting to own your faith for yourself, like, you know, growing as an adult, separating from your parents. It's like, was this my faith? Is it my parents' faith? Do I believe this just because I've been told it, or because I think it's actually true? Do I actually fully understand what this is about? You know, what's this? There's a whole lot of questions. And so you probably come to that time, you've got a whole lot of questions about faith, life, direction, who you are. And that's really normal and it's really important. And we all have to do this spiritual work at some time of our life, but our culture is not particularly good at creating the space to do that. So Veta actually provides you with a space where you can do that spiritual work that we all need to do, really intentionally, really purposefully, and, well, we hope and we hear from students in a really open and honest way with a group of people who you love and trust, so you can really ask the hard questions and go there with your friends. So that's the second group, really. The third group we often have, so Veta actually started I was a chaplain in a government school, and we often would have, and we still have, students who are discovering faith, or they've just become Christians, or they're new to the Christian life. And so Veta for them becomes an opportunity to really go, wow, I want to throw myself into it, really discover what this is about, and learn as a new thing what my life, what my life now stands for. So that's all exciting. And often there's students who might have been part of a youth group or gone to a Christian school but not from a Christian family, or different reasons why they would be in that position. But Veta becomes again a really great chance to really enmesh yourself within that Christian life and really ground yourself in your faith. So although I like to put people in boxes, I also recognise that you might not fit into any of those boxes, and also you might be, a bit of you might be in each of them. You might have all of that might make sense, but that's the advantages. But what I say invariably, but the feedback we get from students and from schools, it's really interesting hearing from schools. But what happens through doing Veta, because you've got such support around you, like adults who really love you and care for you and you can talk to about whatever, you've got this intentional reading of scripture, you've got friends who you can talk about your faith with, ask the hard questions, you're stretching yourself to grow in different ways. We find that a lot of the students do just develop a lot more confidence in who they are in Christ. They're more articulate about their faith. They have words to put around their thoughts. They're not threatened by, when people are maybe questioning them or their faith, so you find that, it just builds that confidence in you. So that's what we hope you would experience as well. I've talked for too long, haven't I, Laura? Sorry. I just want to throw that because that's a question you often ask. Is there any other questions that people might have or comments on?
I'm sorry, just a quick question. I'm not sure if I'm staying with my school maybe for next year. I might be moving to a different school. Would that be to talk to that school about if they offer Veta, or would that be searching around maybe for schools around my area which do Veta and I just join in with them?
Great question. Firstly, I love that your choice here is where Veta is going to fit. That's a great start. We do have online groups, which Beth's friend sister is part of as well. So we do have, if you go to a school and they don't offer Veta, or it doesn't work timetabling wise or whatever, if you're moving later, we do have that system where we have an online class, which happens on Zoom. We kind of work out the times based on the students' availability at the start of every year. So we have 2 groups this year online, and that will still go towards your ATAR and stuff, and we talk with your school to make sure that all the paperwork side of things is done. So if you found a school that was running it and you could do it there, great. But if not, you could still do it, and we can talk to your school about making sure that happens for you.
Cool, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good, Charlotte. Good question, because that's like a secret that we can't get out, that any student actually in any school can enroll in Veta and do it. And we will either put you in a peer group, find a local peer group, put you in there, establish a peer group at your school, or you can join an online group. So there's no restrictions on that. So
Does anyone else have any questions?
Hey, sorry, me again. With the ministry, 48-hour things and stuff like that, is that could you explain a bit more around what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. So the major ministry is the 40-hour one. Is that the one you want, or both of them, or?
Oh, yeah, just both. Is it just you have to pick a camp in your area to serve, or is it, just trying to confirm what that looks like?
Yeah. So the 40-hour ministry is more based over the whole year, and so I was looking at you might serve 1 or 2 hours per week kind of thing, or 3 hours per fortnight, or whatever works for you. And so often that is in some sort of ministry that's ongoing, like kids ministry or youth ministry, and what we're looking for there is that you can show up and you can continue to do the serving kind of just week in, week out, as Jesus did. He just kind of showed up, he kept doing it, he kept working. So that's kind of the major ministry, which is that 40 hours, but it's definitely not done in a block, and you can do it throughout the whole year. And most students, if they get onto their major ministry really early and they have one that does, is a weekly time commitment, it's kind of done by about now. They've got those 40 hours done. If you delay getting that sorted, that's going to cause issues later in the year. The short-term ministry is designed to be done more in a block. So it's designed to be very much like an intense 16 hours, just in and out kind of situation. And prior to COVID, it was always pretty much always like an overnight experience. Since COVID, we have been a bit more flexible with our arrangements on that. And so the short-term ministry, you can either join in with like a camp. So maybe your church runs a family camp, so you join in and help lead that camp. Or there might be a CYC camp or another type of camp, beach mission camp that you can jump in and you can serve with. Or you can come up with your own kind of idea. So girl this year, she ran a local worship conference, and it went all day Friday, all day Saturday. And that was what she did. And that was all herself planning that and stuff. So there's different ways of doing it depending on what your interest levels are and where you're kind of can serve. Often people get those done throughout the school holidays, but not always.
Just if I can jump in, sorry, Laura. I'm constantly delighted by what I see students engaging in. Sometimes a little bit scared, but that's all right. So, I mean, just some examples that I've really liked. So one of the students at my school, where I was, the school I was at, in leading a peer group, he ran Third Space, he called it. It was a program, like a lunchtime group for Christian kids, and they could bring their friends and just talk about God and share their faith together. So that was really cool. What was particularly delightful about that, there was one girl who was from a non-Christian family doing Veta, and she couldn't go to church, like it wasn't her family's thing, and so her church was Third Space. So you get that, your head around that. One of the boys in my group was running the church that one of the girls was attending as her church for Veta, so that was really cool. We've had a number of students who've done overseas missions. I don't know if that's possible with depending on COVID, I guess. Looks like it's possible now. Yeah, lots of great things. The main thing I would always ask students is to think about see it as an opportunity, like not just a thing you can tick the box on, but an opportunity, because God, so often we discover our gifts and our calling through getting out there and having a crack at things. So God really works in those moments. So use it as an opportunity to try out something that maybe you're thinking God might be prompting you towards, or if you're already involved in a ministry, to stretch yourself to the next level. And yeah, I'm just thinking of some of the people I know. Like, yeah, I know some students who've got involved in crisis pregnancy care and stayed with that for years afterwards. Like they've started things in Veta, which years later that's their passion and their mission. So I see it as an opportunity. Is really what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think that's the time we promised. We're 2 minutes over that we finished. So feel free to leave with grace if you want to now. Otherwise, we'll hang around and continue to just respond to any questions that you may have. We will send out a link of the video. So thanks for that question, Beth. And yeah, if you do know other people who want to get involved, sometimes it is just a tap on the shoulder from a friend that encourages a student to get involved. And we have, again, people down the track who are just so thankful that their friend said, hey, would you do this with me? And their lives have been transformed in amazing ways. So if you do have anyone that you think might be interested, we'd love it. And we're happy to speak to them directly if they want to reach out to us, we're happy to talk to them.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.